Welcome to the Lawson Farm, everyone. I hope all y'all are doing well. I know it's been some crazy times in the past few weeks, and it seems to be just getting crazier. But there's one thing I wanted to say. Even though we got these crazy times, we don't need to stop. We need to keep going, keep our head up, and keep our fingers crossed that it's going to get better one day. I believe it will. But I wanted to show you what all we've been going here. At the very end of the video, I'm going to insert some footage from yesterday. I realized yesterday that I'm going to have to get another camera or a microphone or something. Everything I'm doing right now is from my iPhone. So any of you other channels out there watching, leave down in the comments what kind of camera and stuff you're using. I just like to get some recommendations because I know that stuff's not cheap, and looks like I'm going to be investing in one. But anyways, I found out yesterday that my mic doesn't do good when I'm around loud equipment, which we've seen that in other videos. But I was inside of a cab tractor working, and I thought surely that wouldn't be loud enough to mess my mic up. Well, it did. I had a good video put together for everyone too. We were reseeding some pastures with a no-till drill, and at the end of the day, I ended up going over the drill and talking about it and showing how it works. So that's what I'll put into the video, and I may even try to insert a clip or two of actually working in the field, but however, I'm going to have the voice cut out of it. But anyways, I finally got this here garden fence about wrapped up. I've got the goats turned in here right now. We've only got 2 that's come in here so far. I've had them in here since yesterday about this time, and it's about lunchtime right now. And we've only got 2 still that's come in here. They come in right through that little gate right there. But we've just turned them in here just to eat down some of the. Well, we had a salad patch right there, and some turnips and some mustard and stuff, and I've let them eat it down. They've eaten down some of the other weeds that's come in here, but I've also built a raised bed right here, and I filled it up full of, well, actually this is hay that we had for Halloween decoration out in the yard last October. And after I cleaned the mess up, I just threw it out into the garden and been letting it rot. So I put 1 layer of hay in the bottom of this little bed here, and then on top of it I put some good topsoil, and then I put this layer on top here. It don't look like it is, but it's pretty thin, and that's just going to be kind of like a mulch layer. But in that bed, I'm planning on growing some onions, my strawberry plants, and I'll probably stick some garlic and stuff like that in there, and it goes to right here halfway across. Then right here I've got a grapevine that I had cut back that used to be on a trellis here, and it had rotted, so now I'm going to let it actually use the fence for the garden. But there's a grapevine there, and then there's another one right here, and I cut those back pretty heavily, but they'll be okay. Then of course we got a walk-in gate right there. Now, that's a 6-foot gate. If need be, I can get my small tractor through that gate. However, that'll probably just be the gate we use to go in and out of the garden while we're working. This is how I've got the rest set up. So from here to this post, I'll be able to open it up and roll that fence back and be able to get the big tractor in here, truck or whatever. And all I done was use these turnbuckles to tighten the fence up. I do have this one up here. It's a little loose just because it's sort of sitting at an angle right now, just because of the way this fence is running at a downhill slope. But I am going to do some adjustments to that to make that work better. And there will be, once we've actually got this garden tilled up with the tractor and ready to start planting, I won't be getting in it no more with the tractor. So I will drive a couple of T-posts along the way just to kind of steady up that wire. See, it's pretty floppy right now. And also, there will be a run of electric wire all the way to the top, because the deer around here like to jump. Last year I had an 8-foot fence around this garden, and they cleared that 8-foot fence. Now this one is going to be 10 foot. I don't think they're going to be able to clear a 10-foot fence, but who knows? Deer are awful around here. You can't have anything because of deer. And I am going to use a different style fence on the garden down across our creek. We usually plant potatoes and maybe a little corn and stuff like that down there. But I'm going to use a different style deer fence on that, and I'll show y'all that in an upcoming video. But this is what was worked on all day yesterday until about, I don't know, probably about 3 o'clock yesterday evening. And that's when I got a phone call saying that my daddy was done with the no-till drill that he had rented and wanted to know if I wanted to go over my pasture up here, and I said of course. So we're going to go out here and take a look at the pasture. I'm going to show you what it done, and then at the end, like I said, I'll put in that piece from yesterday talking about the way the drill works. So we'll catch up with you in just a second. Alright, so you may know if you watched one of the other videos that about fertilizing the hayfield that I spent last Saturday putting lime and fertilizer on the pasture here at the house. But my grass stand's not really that great here, because all of this that you see, I see there's still a brush pile from it, but all of this at one time was wooded land, every bit of it. And right here is my fence line. Then that's the neighbor's property over there. And there's a little sneak peek of what my crazy neighbor lives in. That's a totally different story. That's another neighbor's property right up there. He's got about 2-acre spot. And anyways, yeah, his son is living in that building right now, so we won't go there right now. But anyways, what I wanted to show you is the grass stand out here is really not that great. Now I don't have anything on this pasture right now. I've got everything took off of it, because like I said, this was all cleared land. I sowed it one time, and then I didn't have much choice because I had animals I had to put in here, so we had to pasture it in and get the animals out from my parents' house. But anyways, you can see these lines here, and that no-till drill slits the ground open and puts seed down in that crack, and then we'll have nice rows of grass seed coming here. And I run over this pretty good and put quite a bit of seed on the whole pasture, all the way back up in there and around the backside over there, and then that other part is where it jets back up to our house. And anyways, right now is not the optimal time to be seeding pasture, because it's March. I don't know. I've done forgot what date it was. I don't even remember what day it is today. It's March 20th. It's somewhere around the March 20th, and that's getting pretty late to sow grass. However, it's just been really wet, and you ain't been able to get in the land. I wanted to do this last fall, and that didn't happen either, because it went from really dry to really wet. So you just got to work with the cards you dealt. So like I said, you can see that's another brush pile from when this was cleared. We need to burn those, but we hadn't really. I did actually try to burn that one at one time, and it was still too green. It didn't work out that great. But and we got all this back in here. Then I don't know if you can see that little patch of green right back in there. That's where our garden is across the creek. So yeah, it's been another busy weekend around here. As always, it's springtime, and you better believe I know it. Between my landscape business being wide open and stuff going on around here, it's just been kind of overwhelming. But I'm doing my best to get done what I can do. And one good thing about it is, it keeps you out of trouble. That's for sure. You don't have time to get in trouble because you're always working on something. But anyways, I'm gonna try to put in a piece from yesterday, and then I'll insert that other piece at the end showing how the grain drill worked and talk a little bit about it. And I think I mentioned it yesterday in that piece of video, but all I did was use Kentucky 31. Around here, that's a pretty common pasture grass, hay grass. We're kind of right on the border right here in North Carolina. Once you go a little bit south of us and east of us, Kentucky 31 is not really that common. You get more into the warm season grasses. But anyways, that's what most people use around here for pasture type grasses and hayfield type grasses. And I'm sure it's different all over the country. But anyways, I'm gonna see if I can put in that video and let y'all see how that no-till drill works. So here we are, we're running the machine. There's Maggie, she's riding along with her daddy. She didn't want to leave my side Saturday, and she stayed right there with me. She was having the time of her life, even though she didn't look that comfortable. But however, the machine right there, you can see me pulling it right behind me. And really all it is to it is you just got to raise the hydraulics up and down, and when you've got it down, it's working, and when it's up, it's not. And you can make some short turns with it in the ground, but most of the time you have to pick it up if you're going to make some sharp turns. But as long as you're not really sharp turns, you can make a slight turn with it in the ground. But these things do a good job for what they are, and I highly recommend getting one if you've got quite a bit of overseeding you need to do in some pasture or hayland. So I just finished up. I think I'm out of grass seed. I probably got a spot or two that probably didn't get any grass seed. Getting ready to climb up there and check. But here's the outfit we're using. This is my daddy's 5100E John Deere. This was bought just last year in 2018 or 19. I think it was 19. But this right here, like I said, this is the seed drill. You've got these barrels right here in case you need some extra weight. You fill those up with water. But this hydraulic cylinder right here allows all of this to sit down on the ground, and once you set it down, it puts this wheel right here on the ground. See, right now you can spin it freely, but that puts that on the ground, and that turns everything. Anything and everything that needs to run to put that seed in the ground, that turns it. Then it just simply hooks up to your drawbar on your tractor, and you got your wet lines there. You got 2 wet lines. So these things sit pretty high, so you have to climb up on these steps. And once you get up here, you have this hopper, which you could put oats or rye or soybeans or anything of that nature in. And at the same time, you could be putting grass seed. We have very little in there. There's actually still enough. I may seed over one more spot. But then up here in this box is what you call your small seeds box, if I can get it open. And in there, like I said, it's your small seed box, and that would be anything such as clover, anything that's an extremely small seed. Like I said, I believe this one is a 10-foot. It's either a 9 or 10 foot. And you can see here, these discs will spread the ground apart. The seed drops down inside of those discs, and then you have a packer wheel back here behind. Now that's muddy just because I actually went down my road bed here coming down the side of the pasture, but it wasn't that muddy where I was actually seeding. This is just real shady over here. But each one of these float individually, so if there's a contour in the ground, this one will raise up if there's a bump or a rock or anything. And all of those, each one of those discs work individually of each other, so they can all float up and down. But it's pretty handy contraption. It's not, you know, a small farm like us. it's not really worth buying one unless you're worth finding one extremely cheap, especially when you can rent it for $10 an acre. And there's an actual counter on here somewhere to show you how much acreage you have done. And where is it at? I do not see it. Anyways, I know for a fact there's a counter on here somewhere. I just can't remember where it's at. And it'll actually count how many acres you've gone over somehow or another. And some of them don't do that. Some of them, the owner of them pretty much trusts you, and you tell him if you went over 10 acres or 50 acres or 100 acres, he just has to take your word for it. But anyways, that's pretty much it, and that's what's going on this evening. Like I said, it's been a really busy day. You can see the new grass we've sown right here. We're at the bottom side of it. It's all coming up pretty good. It's looking pretty good. It'd be nice to get some more warm days on it, maybe a few more showers of rain. Get some rain on this new seed I just put in today. But and one other thing, I'm not using anything but just regular Kentucky 31. That's around here in this area in North Carolina. That's a pretty standard go-to for pasture grass and hayland and stuff like that. But you know, it's just as important as fertilizing and liming. It's just as important to make sure you keep a good stand of grass too. And a lot of our pastures, they're overgrazed, and you know, you have to go over them and restock the seed, because if you don't, you'll lose it. And you know, you got to keep a good stand of grass on the land. If not, the land will wash. It'll just be nasty. But anyways, I'm gonna get back in the tractor, take it back to Daddy's, and maybe I can finally sit down and go eat me a bite. I hadn't even had time to eat lunch today. That's pathetic, but I should have stopped and took time, but I didn't. Anyways, I hope all y'all are having a good day and getting through this here crazy mess that we're in, and hope everything's going good for everybody, and we will talk to you on the next video.